3:31, just starting a minute late here, replying to some emails. So hopefully everybody get in here. That little delay doesn't affect anybody. And just double checking. All right, audio and video looks good here on my end. So, all right, let's see. We got a few people piling in right away. Trade Ideas live Q&A here. This is an open forum Q&A for anybody that's new, attending for the first time. What do I mean by that? I mean that this is driven by your questions. I don't come with any pre-done content. I'm here to answer questions, help new users out, or anybody that's thinking about subscribing, so they get a better idea of the software, the community that's built around software, what we offer, and how we could benefit their better trading decisions. SGMA, Barry was just messaging us in our trader chat here. SGMA, boom. So, he's always on those ones. Sam M, how are you? Welcome. Happy Friday. No, it's never a bother, Sam. Never a bother. That's what I'm here for. I enjoy very much what I do with the company here. So let's take a look at SGMA while we wait for everybody's burning questions to come on in. Woof. What a move. Not too shabby. 76% move. So Bear printed circuit board manufacturing. Interesting chart. I mean, how can one predict anything like that? Earnings date, market hours. That's odd. Don't see that very often. I'm guessing that was the release of earnings right there. And positive reaction, to say the least. That nice move up and a nice bull flag right there for really taking off. Yes, I will be able to, Sam. I should be able to. So yeah, go ahead and send that in. Let me know when it's sent. It usually takes a moment or two after you send it for it to work its way all the way through our filters. And it gets dropped into a general email box that I have access to. So sorry, just looking at some questions. Sorry, there's someone was having an issue with the scan, and I was curious as to what the issue was. And it wasn't a ticket that I was working, but I'm always just curious to know what's blocking someone when they think a stock should be coming through their scan and they're not getting it. So, all right. With that said, another interesting day from the market here as we close out Friday. And what do I mean by interesting? Well, actually, this has been possibly the most boring trading week of my entire life. It looks like the Fed took the SPY private on a buyout or something. I don't know, but this has to be the tightest range we've seen in years. I have to believe that. I can't recall anything like that in a long time. So it's interesting by actually being boring. Taking a screenshot of that. I'm going to share that with somebody here. So, and again, I see people coming in, coming out. It's an open forum. I'm waiting for you guys to ask some questions. Otherwise, I will dive around and talk about a few other things. And just checking to see if an email came in from you yet there. All right, let me know when that comes in. And all right, well, while I wait for all your burning questions, dive into the AI real quick here. So I don't know, a mixed day from the AI, rough in one sense and solid in another. So let's start with things that just never happened or never worked. So sorry, I had an incoming call here. So look at this first here, EERI. And while it was never a lot of pain necessarily in this trade, got stopped out, unfortunately. AI makes the entry here. Here's your stop. So you got a 35-cent stop on that. That's probably based on the low of yesterday, I'm guessing, or something to do with the low of yesterday within range. But just, not a great entry. That's all there is to it. You got a stock that has no clear edge and is, the definition of a falling knife. All right. What do I mean by no clear edge? Sure, it's got 1 million shares traded today, so it's liquid enough to get in and out, but not doing anything special on the volume. We can even see that it had this big volume here, and the volume just continues to dry up. All right, and just continue to get beat up here all the way down. I'm guessing that this move up here and then a move back down here is what the AI was seeing for pulling back on the arrow. Just didn't happen to work out the way one would hope it would work out. And that was it. And we can see, I think it was really this kind of range here that we couldn't get through. We popped right through it like a whoopsie, as I always discuss on, pivot lines, and just kind of fell right back down through and continued to do what the stock's doing. So it is what it is. The algo saw it the way it saw it. Holly doesn't look at charts. She just looks at the metrics that she's performed with that have to do with, volume, price, range, gaps, position and ranges, so on and so forth. Like any other scanner, they're just, some other fanciness that goes into the back testing of, these scans. And the fact that these alerts here, they only alert a few a day, if that even, versus, the alert windows that any one of us make, alerting 5, 6, 7, 8, 100, 1,000 stocks in a day, where her alert, her specific alerts here or strategies, they might alert 1 or 2. It's odd to see one strategy alert 5 or 6 times in a day. That's not the normal. That's the way these are optimized in back tests. So, try and bring up those quality alerts, but it is what it is. So we start with the bad and the ugly here with Holly. We'll move into some stuff that, you had a chance for a moment, but, you want to be a day trader. Sometimes these are the trades that you get, and you got to be nimble with it. So you get the alert here on LESL. It's an earnings play, doing 4 times, a little more than 4 times its normal volume. That's right there. And you get that alert, you get a big spike up right away. Get a big move down afterwards and a big move up. So if it was something that you were looking to play, it was a spread you were going to have to work for sure. And you didn't, you didn't have time to mess around on this alert. That's for sure. You weren't taking this trade and then going to the bathroom, making a sandwich, fixing some eggs in the morning for breakfast or something like that. So, on a 5-minute chart, you can see, you get your entry here, you get real wobbly, and you got a chance in here to get out for some money, in there to get out for some money, and that was it. So that is what the call was. Had a chance on it before it just kind of faded for the rest of the day and looks like an earnings fade. But, it'll bring me into the question we get asked all the time. Is Holly good for swing trading? She's no different than any other scan, I would say, for swing trading. And what I mean by that is it becomes data interpretation. All right. So we look at this chart here and we can see we got this horseshoe up that was failed. I'm trying to make another horseshoe up that looks like for now it's a failed horseshoe up. We've got earnings as a catalyst for the next day. All right. And how many times have we seen stock, make a big move on the day for earnings and then start to kind of drift up after those earnings. All right. I did not look at the earnings of this. I don't care what the earnings were. I don't know if it was good guidance, bad guidance. Did they beat? Did they meet expectations? No clue. I'll just watch the chart for the next few days. This is something that's in my price range that I like to trade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click a heart on this chart, all right, and put it on my liked list. It's a short list that I curate of stocks that I am interested in. I do believe that, if this thing can start to build on this level here and move up, it might be something worth looking at to take a shot back here at this upper 22 to 23 level and then 24. All right. So I think it's a very low risk to reward long term now if we can get some price action holding this line around this area. Why is it a low risk to reward? We have a pretty established base at $20 right here, we can see. All right. So if I decide to take this just for an example, here in the $21 range, I'm risking $1.15 for a couple of dollars this way. So it's a nice R2, R3 risk to reward there. And that's what I mean. So sorry, I collapsed the questions panel a moment ago here. So let me make sure I'm not ignoring anybody. All right, everything screenshot just sent. How my day was busy. My days are always busy. So all right, Sam, I got that there. Is this something? All right, I'm looking to build a scan. Will alert the SR line by TI. Is this something I'm playing with? Is there a custom involved in that, Sam? Or you're just using it? So the swing exit's a position in 20-day range. So I see you've got that swing exit line that's highlighted there. So yeah, that's a position in 20-day range, which happens to be one of my most favorite things in trading. I love position in 20-day range. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, it clicks to my brain, and I do well with it, using it for stops, position sizing, so on and so forth. It's not my end all be all. I mix it up depending on the chart and the ranges on the stock and things like that. So, but I like to keep my charts clean as I can. I'm not crazy about the way my daily chart looks, but I can't figure out what I want to drop from here. But you see on my daily charts, I just have an 8 EMA and a 20 SMA here. Here I've got a 50 SMA. There's a 20 SMA, 8 EMA, and this is a 20-day range. So that's why I don't have a smart stop on mine. I don't need to put it on there because I know what my position in 20-day range is here. The low of it. This is the low of the 20-day range. So yeah, yep, exactly. It gives you a nice R entry. Yeah, I just found the cleaner the charts, the better off for me personally. That's all. So I'll dig into that scan a little more in the after hours here too, and give you some thoughts there. Well, I guess we could probably do it now. There's really no other questions coming in. Sorry, I had the questions panel closed for a long time when I was ranting about Holly. So I did the good and the tough with Holly there, and then the odd. So this ends up working out well before getting stopped out. So this becomes what Steve Gomez would say is a second mouse gets the cheese, which is one of my favorite things that I steal from Steve. There's actually quite a bit of my trading that's stolen from Steve, but all the same, you get this real strong move up, and we talk about what's extended. It's a relative term at this point, but you've got this update here, all right, and you get this here. Now we get this here, and so I guess here's where we decided it was extended. Here's where the sellers and the buyers decided it was extended. And just Holly makes that entry right there, that first short entry there, and she just gets wicked out right away, unfortunately, before just a nice bleed for quite a while here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 15-minute candles. It was whippy. It was a tough trader again. And we find a re-entry here too. So Holly using that second mouse gets the cheese. And Sorry, message specific to me that's coming in right now. All right, sorry about that. So again, Holly kind of applying that second mouse gets the cheese here and just a really solid re-entry there. And then we based for a long time here, makes a move up and move back down again. So tough trader. China, be careful with those Chinese stocks. You've got a lot of them voluntarily delisting. I don't know whether it's really voluntary or not. Those stories we never get the real tape, and that's why I'll just play the chart. And here's what chart tells me on China. I'll give you two charts on China. KWEB, awful chart. I mean, god awful. All right, so and this is what I mean by god awful. I mean, we topped out here, and yeah, sure, any kind of pullback, especially you got a big run up like that, pullback like that wouldn't be anything out of the normal. But then just continues to fall, and not only does it continue to fall, but lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We get range bound before really giving it up again here. So anything Chinese, careful. That's all. And then if you want more confirmation of that story, here's your second confirmation of that story. And I didn't even change the drawings on that chart, and we have the exact same thing going on here. So anyways, that's the short and skinny of that, and why having a pulse on some of these indexes is not a bad idea. Now, if you're just a day trader, I don't think that's much going to matter. Um, but it just doesn't hurt. I'm more of a swing position trader, swing scalp trader. So that's how I'm always got a pulse on these ETFs here. So, all right, that's that on Holly. What else do I want to note from Holly? One more note from Holly, and especially in the market that we're in. And again, what do I mean the market that we're in? Let's zoom back out here. Let's take a longer term look over some time over this 15-minute chart. This is what I mean. There's a nice kind of steady up, trying to break this long-term range we've been in. And we get up it, and we come right back down into it. And we pop back up it and test this again, and we pop up, and now we're stuck in this new short-term range right here. All right, so when the money's on the table, take it fast. And that ties into what I'll talk about here with SNY. You've got a stock with a hefty float. All right, 2.5 billion in the float. Those 2.7. All right, 2.5 billion in the float. Pretty liquid, doing 3 times its normal volume, but it's not a stock that moves a ton. I mean, we can see here, going back to February to here, we've got a $5 range right there from here to here, basically on the stock. Looking at this 10 to 10 there. But my point being is, this thing is not, it's not in a huge range, real rapid or anything here going on. So we know it's not a stock that moves a ton. We get this big gap up, all right? And so here's our entry there, and we ticking along that stop line, but never actually touch it. We get up here, all right? And while, sure, a 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cent move isn't always ideal for us, when you have a stock that isn't moving a whole bunch in a day, we consider that, consider it relative to what it normally does. Anybody that watched Trader TV with Michael Noss this morning knows that, instead of looking at percentages, he looks at standard deviation for the moves of stocks, which I find very interesting. And I'm starting to make my attempt to dig into that a little more. And his point behind the standard deviation, without getting into it too much, was when you see a stock make a significant move outside of its normal standard deviation, that's something really worth noting. A $1 stock moves 10 cents. That's a massive move for a $1 stock on a percentage basis. And on the flip side of it, you have a $100 stock moves as 10 cents, and that is not a significant move based on a percentage basis of that stock. So, but when you see things start to do things abnormal to the stock itself with standard deviation, it gets you thinking a little bit more. And so, these are the kind of things that we look at. We also can see that the standard deviation of gap on this is probably pretty high, to be honest. All right. But the standard deviation of the intraday moves, not quite as high. So, these are things that we look at as traders, or we're supposed to anyways, depending on how into those things you want to get. Yeah, but here's the thing, Sam. I think sometimes the simpler the scan, the better. To be quite honest, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Leonardo da Vinci, and that is a quote that Jamie Hodge says a lot. And, I think about often, and it's how I've toned down my my scanning. What you see on my window here, this is 90% of what I run in Trade Ideas. The only other thing that I have is this window that I keep bringing over. This has my price alerts in it, a single stock window that's attached to a static SPY chart, and TI strength alerts for the week. And then the only other thing I have here, which will tie into Perfect Circle talking about the SPY breakout, is this right here. And you can see that breakout big time right here. Not on the small caps. I bet the IWM isn't doing anything. In fact, the IWM is probably selling off into the close. Kind of funny. You got your mid caps here that are they're kind of break even right now. So kind of interesting to see that. Get rid of that. Yeah, so it's the short and skinny of all that. The speed for the dockings is hit and miss for me. Like right now, you can see I'm, taking a second for my charts to load, but I'm also a bad example. Some of them load quick and then some don't. But I'm also a bad example because I'm running this Trader Workstation. I'm streaming to you. I'm also running some other internal software for our chats and all those things like that. So if I turned off some of those things and was just focusing on the software, it's mostly okay for me. There's some days it's real bad, believe me. There's nobody more vocal on the charts internally than me, and I don't know. Once in a while, the dev team gets mad, but it is what it is. I deal with the customers and they don't. I deal with the users and they don't. So that's kind of how it works. But the people that work on that part of data sets and stuff, it's 100% on their focus. It's 100% of their focus is fixing this. The problem that we run into, the worst problem that we can run into with any kind of error, bug, or situation with the software is when it doesn't affect everybody. It's actually better when it affects everybody because then we have a clear path to what it is that's causing it. Andy that I work with and Jamie and Steve don't seem to have much any problems. Now they're also much further west than I am. I'm in New York, so maybe that's has to do with it. They're closer to the server farm than I am. We are building some server stuff this side of the Mississippi now. There's a big internal investment that went on for our server farms, and to have a set on each coast now. We'll see how that kind of plays out into that too. No, and Sam, I know you had a back and forth with Andy. I'd seen, I tried to track all the tickets that I can. I've seen that back and forth, and believe me, Andy's gone to bat, and I have gone to bat for not just you, but all of our users that have this because I like the docking feature very much, and there's some other features that have come on in the 5.5s since the docking that I think are pretty outstanding here. And it's just, it's one of those things that really bothers me, especially when looking to get a user to upgrade to keep up with what we have. I hesitate to ask anybody to upgrade because I never know. It's like a Russian roulette what's gonna happen with them. So kind of is what it is. Just one of those things that puts us in a tough place. Like now you can see here that one chart loads quick. This one was a little more delayed. So same thing here. So TPH. Just so hesitant to pull the trigger on this. So it's something I've been watching for a while. Charting patterns that I really like here. We're sitting right here, all-time highs, but this thing just doesn't have the volume that I wanted in it to get me in. It makes this move like this today. When I'm looking at it, I'm like, nope. And then it continues to do this the rest of the day. So anyways, it is what it is. SI. And as always, I disclaimer to everybody, I see people coming in and coming out of the broadcast. Of course, there's very few numbers today. I am no charter market technician. I'm self-taught on all this. I went from being a losing trader for 2 years to about a break-even trader for a year. And now for a year and a half, I've been a positive trader. This is the type of scan you're looking. Okay, so you're looking. We've caught that average here. You see the 8 EMA and the 20 SMA were fighting with each other through here, and now the 8 EMA is won out and bringing us back up. And you had it cross here and cross back down, and then cross again here. So same kind of thing. Commercial banking. I've been all about the banking. Anybody that's been in these live Q&As knows that for sure. If we were to bring up, where's my sector list? Where are you, my banking friends? KRE. We've had a pullback, but we're looking good still in that overall. KBE probably looking about the same. Yep, same thing. And the XLF not far behind, and same thing. And so they've been market leaders for a lot of the year. They've given some back in the last month here. Interesting. SI is more crypto. Did not know that. Hide that behind there. Let's bring that up again. SI. So what do you say in your profile? Let's get rid of this down. Banking on certified instruction. Digital currency industry. Very interesting. Well, love it or hate it, crypto's here to stay for now. That's for sure. So, all right, thoughts on this here. Love that. All right. You can see that there's a lot of trouble through this area here. All right. And again, pivot lines are an approximation always. So, we run into it, almost get it, but this line was definitely in effect. Same thing here, and it finally gets its wind here for whatever reason, pops up through and comes right back down. So it looks like we've got kind of an established range here that we popped up and come back down. This is your floor for sure. All right, I know this chart's getting messy here. And you can see this thing is whippy as heck. But I would say this, you've got kind of a defined area, give or take, with $150 stock, give or take maybe, let's say, 50 cents or so. This kind of defined area here for risk. And so my mind just goes to kind of more of a trade, a swing trading kind of idea here versus anything else. I do think, I like to look at multiple time frames. So looking on this time frame, that level is going to be a problem getting through that, I think, again. And that might just coincide with that, I'm guessing. Take a look at how that plays out here on these charts. All right, so that's the top of today's range, sorry. All right, so there and there, but it's a huge range. You're talking about a range from 165, give or take, to 156. I mean, huge range. Percentage base, I guess, not huge, but still a nice trading range. You get, a piece of that couple dollar alpha that's there. and you were looking at, trade 1.5 mil shares trade today. It's doing right around its normal stuff. Had this big spike for whatever reason here. I would surmise that's news. And moving down to the low end of the RSI range here, to the lower end of its RSI range. What I do find interesting is from all that huge breakout, almost flat on RSI from back here in this low in the summer. So, all right, we just rang the bell a minute ago here, closed out the week. It looks like we spiked everything into the close here in the last 5 minutes. So, I think, the top of today's range is going to give you trouble on SI. That's for sure. Where it's going to become a magnet. You're right at that magnet right there. This level's a magnet here. Whoopsie through it, whoopsie through it, whoopsie through it, whoopsie through it. Closing that bounces on the swing line. That could very well be it right there. I mean, when we drill into this here a little closer, we're working around this line, putting this low. We banged on it, banged on it, banged on it again. So we'll see. In the simplest of terms, above here bullish, below there bearish, and that's what I'd go with. Not sure if you're looking for it more, like I said, something to try to get a few dollars on, maybe up to the top of this couple of day range here, or something you're thinking a little longer term. And especially tough with crypto because you never know. You never know. So, all right, that's there. And then, so we got, what do you call that pattern you like there? Is it cup and handle basically or something else? I like cup and handle, and I like just a horseshoe up in general. So we could call this right here. This would be a nice big wide cup. We call that a handle right there. I did not draw that at all very well. Let's try that again. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. And again, I always disclaimer, I like this pattern. I'm going to see it. You may say, what the heck is this guy drawing? And you may very well be right. But I recognize that. I'm biased to the pattern. I like it. I want to see it. So, but I can admit that, and I recognize that. So yeah, that's what I call that. And then there's a recommendation pattern aside from. I don't know. There's a recommended list, but you could check this out here. Let me find it. Bookmarks, the pattern site. And this is where I did a lot of my studying too. Real, who is in the traders room with Barry always, had shared this with me, years and years and years ago when I asked him, where do I learn about patterns and stuff like that. And he said, check this out, and gave me that. And I did, my own kind of legwork with that site there. Bullwiki, I think that's who it is, right? Bullwhiskey. Something like that. So that's where I would say there. As far as, like I said, as far as our software goes, pattern recognition, it's just not, I don't know if anybody has a real great pattern recognition for retail software, to be honest. Where Michael Noss is actually trying to build a cup and handle scanner in the Market Explorer now, and he is finding it super tough to do the math to try to figure out how to do that. And then, all right, you sent me another one. I'll check that in a second. They're saying I get lost trying to be perfect with my drawings. No, don't be perfect with your drawings. That's the whole thing. That's like, I think, a complete misconception with any kind of, just draw some crap on a chart. If that crap you're drawing doesn't work, start to draw some new stuff. You know what I mean? I used to try to be like line up every like, all right, this has got to be like perfect to the tip of this wick right there. But oh wait, then it doesn't line up with that one, so I got to move it there. But wait, then it doesn't line up with that one. You know where I got away from that completely is watching JC Peretz. You know, all the time he'll draw a chart. He'll have a chart just like this, all right, and he'll draw something like that, and he'll draw something on these and like circle them and call them whoopsies. That's where I stole that from. So those are all, you know, all whoopsies like that. You know, and he has, you know, he draws, you know, horseshoe bases, whatever you want to call them, like this all the time, where he'll have like one tail come way down and pierce down below what he's drawing. And JC is probably one of the most respected CMTs that are out there. So um, I don't think you have to be perfect with it. Now I'm not saying go all scribble and you know crazy, obviously either, but um, you know don't be afraid of the charts. That's all. You know, draw some stuff on it, delete it, draw some new stuff on it. So I would say that. Thanks, Sam. You know, listen, you know, there's a lot to my story that I don't publicly share. It's not, you know, it would be an R-rated movie to say the least, but I put myself in a very bad position in life with a few things, and you know, backed myself into a terrible corner. There was no fail for me. There could not possibly be a fail with trading. You know, my biggest mistake though was my own ego. I think when I first started trying to learn how to trade, I taught myself how to speak Spanish on my own, fluent Spanish, and I thought, okay, well, I taught myself to speak Spanish. That there's no way I can't teach myself how to trade, and I got humbled hard on top of everything else. JC Peretz, All Star Charts. If you're on Twitter, I highly recommend to follow him. Let me find him on Twitter for you. Where are you, All Star Charts? There you are. I don't think. Here, this is JC. I don't think you can find a better person for technical analysis to follow than him, and he keeps it. I mean, he keeps it real for sure. The only things he talks about really are charts, finance in general, cooking, and wine. That's it. You know, he leaves all the other noise and nonsense out of there. Top notch follow right there, without a question. He also he does he does a Twitter space. I don't know how often he does it, but called Charts and Champagne with him and another fellow that's at All Star Charts with him, and just some really great stuff in there as well. So um, you know, kind of a can't miss. So all right, and cars, yeah, yeah, that cars chart, man, that one killed me. One of those ones where I should have pulled the trigger and I didn't. Pissed I didn't, but it is what it is. And you know, again, like we talk about extended. You know, get this gap and that big move up. That's extended, right? We got to come back down this way. Nope. Up we go still. Now, is this extended? Who knows? Are we going to get 20? I don't know. Same thing. Here's another one that drove me nuts. I looked at this today and it was at 18.99, and I'm like, there's no way this thing's going through 19 today. And boy, was I wrong. You know, I saw it make this move right up here, and I saw it pull back down to here on this candle. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's done. All right, that this is overdone. And no, caught the 8 EMA on a 15-minute chart and didn't look back for another almost a dollar. Anyways, you know, again, what's extended? You know, you pull up 1,000 charts that look like that got smashed right afterwards, and you pull up these ones that just defied gravity afterwards. But again, patterns that I like. Just building those bases, base on top of a base on top of a base. So it's not easy to hold through things like this too, you know, and especially when you see this, you saw this run right up here. And typically when a stock makes a run like that from down there, back here is where they're coming. This did not, you know, established a base, established a new base, established a new base, so on and so forth. And it's easy to, you know, look back and see those things like that then. But that's how we recognize for possibly that next setup that might make these moves. And, instead of trying to take 1,000 shares and get 30 cents, you take 200 shares and get $2. And, makes it a little easier when it moves $2 against you when you have, 200 shares versus, 1,000 shares, and all of a sudden it drops 75 cents on you. That's why I made my switch to swing trading anyways. Not to say I don't take a day trade occasionally, but I just prefer not to if I can help it. So, Barry bragging to us all here that he took a chunk out of that, whatever that stock was that we were talking about right at the beginning of this year. Oh, that Barry. I mean, I just don't know how he does what he does. Michael Noss. I don't know anybody that picks on bears more than Michael Noss. I'm the only person I think that just does that. I don't have a bear or a bull case to be made. What's the path of least resistance? Sorry, just trying to catch up on something here. All right, so I'm going to pull up that Sam. Is it all right if I pull up that scan that you shared, and we'll take a look at it on screen here, since there isn't much else coming in for questions. And again, I'll throw this out there again. I see people come in, come out. It's an open forum of questions, so don't feel like, oh, he's interacting with these other, people that are in here already. I don't want to interrupt that. Ask questions. If you don't ask a question, I can't answer it. That's how this works. Copy. All right, so I'll load that up real fast. Just take a look at what you got going on here. I'm always curious, and spent a couple of weeks where we were building a whole bunch of scans in here. Hard to know if any of them will really work out into anything at this point. All right, so we got this, gap fillers. Let's go ahead and configure Windows specific filters, hide the unused. All right, so we're in between $2,500 and da-da-da-da-da. All right, we're not looking at anything from here to here. Position 5-day range, got to be a bit above that, and want to see things are trading at least 100,000 shares. And what's our alert to get us going? Crossed high daily resistance, looking back 10 days. All right, interesting. Search Windows out there. ABD, how are you? Welcome. No, don't listen. Don't call it a dumb scan. You want to see. Look, I'm going to show you something here. Anybody that's been in here and seen this 1,001 times, but I don't care. But here's the scan. Here's my big go-to. All right. And some days I find one idea in it. Some days I find 10 ideas in it. Some days I find no ideas in it. So I call it my evening scan 1. I don't know why. Because I'd made like 5 different evening scans, I think, that were all kind of similar, and I numbered them. Anyways, ready for how complicated and sophisticated and crazy this scan is? $4 to $30. Although I'm going to increase that to 35 now. I'm upping my range. Relative volume 1, position 20-day range, got to be 75% above that, 75% above the low of today's range, and traded at least 750,000 shares today. Real fancy stuff. But it returns me some good ideas that I really like. Most of what you see in my liked window that I'm watching has been returned from that scan. This one's another one that kills me. But, this base and that, or we can even call it that, whatever you want to call it. Just a great move, and just JNPR, just a powerful move again today. Now I'm not going to go chase it, obviously, and for all I know, it's going to run right up to $40. But these are all ideas that come through that scan, that one single scan, and have all had some nice moves in them. I took a position in this today. And so it ended right basically at where I took it, actually. But this has been on my radar for a long time. This has been on my radar actually since back here. I've just never found the opportunity to take it, and that's what I'm hoping for in here. I'm hoping for that. And I use the word hope loosely, but what I like is It's been trading pretty liquid. It seems to be holding up on its own well, even just in regular volume. We don't have earnings anywhere near it. We're sitting right by the all-time high right here. Um, and so I like a move to try to challenge that all-time high. We look like, got this line here. So there, I've got my established risk. I'll be honest. I'm looking for it to push through all-time highs. I'd like to see 28, 29, 30. And I have an established risk down here about 25.75 based on this line right here. So anyways, but this all just came through the most simple and basic scan of there is. Yes, my evening scan 1 is better than my evening scan 2. I don't even know what's in my evening scan. My evening scan 2 anymore. I don't know the last time I opened any one of those. I should just delete it. What happened to Barry? Can I show some built-in scanners? I mean, yeah, we could go. I could bring up a docked channel bar here. Hopefully my computer doesn't explode. Oh, I got to change this because the resolution on my other screens is different. I blow up my resolution here for this Q&A. Oh man, my computer wants to explode. Hold on, let me close Trader Workstation and some other stuff here. Barry's good. William, you probably haven't been in this before. So Barry closes his room at 3 o'clock every day. That's been his format for a long time. Barry used to go to the bell, but now he's been closing for a long time at 3:30. And in September, I started doing this as a late day Q&A on this stream here at 3:30. So I give a half an hour of live market action and half an hour after the market. And this is just for people to come in, kick the tires. You just can't get enough of charts, trade ideas, scanning, and all that. And that's what I do. So I'm in here. I'm a very different trader than Barry, although I learned a lot from Barry. What I most importantly learned from Barry is I cannot trade like him. But load up some built-in scans, sure. So we go to, let's see, let's look at momentum. So I think this is a channel that Andy more or less built. All right. I know Andy, I think, is the architect of Extreme Master Blaster. This might be one of Barry's scans. I'm not sure on that one. But anybody could label something low float winners. But I remember Barry having one that was called this way back when. So I wonder if that might be it. But and we can go into any of these scans. We can right click any of these scans here and we can see what's going on. So it's a multi-window, meaning there's multiple scans in there, multiple alert windows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 scans in here, each with different configure. We can go into each one of these and go into configure and take a look at what's going on in there. And then if anybody ever wanted to do any editing on any of these scans, are welcome to do that. But what you can't do is edit it and save it into the bar here. This is saved on our server side to push out to all users. So you can't change everything for all users, but you can save it to your local cloud or to your cloud or your local machine and, make those adjustments accordingly. Or if you just want one individual scan, you could save the individual scan to load into your layout. I found it a mix. When I was in, let's say, my first couple of years, I was modifying a bunch of scans. Scans that I were modifying back then was Jamie's Turbo Family Up No Resistance. I really like that scan. I still like that scan. I think I like it more for swing trading than day trading, to be honest. Stocks that are making new all-time highs, there's no resistance above it. With that said, I started getting into building some of my own scans, and then I've kind of settled on what I do now. I do a lot of my scanning in the evening, and then I put things on my liked list and only kind of focus on those stocks on the day / week, whatever you want to call it. Thanks, just getting know he's getting old, and I think he might retire soon. So I just want to make sure he still does his room. Nah, Barry's young at heart, if nothing else. I'll tell you that right now. And Barry loves what he does, so I don't see him retiring anytime soon. To be quite honest, I mean, you never know, but I just don't see him retiring anytime soon. Um, so, but Barry will be back, and this, Barry broadcasts from this side of the stream and the flip side of the stream too, where the, protradingroom.com had made that for him. So, he just shuts it all down and I only broadcast from this side at 3:30 Eastern. But yes, what I get what you're saying with that too, ABD, because you've got some legwork. Not only do you have legwork done here when you get a template sent to you or you have a template ready, but it also can point you in some ideas and directions of where you might want to be on a scan too. So it's nice to build off of something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's also nice to build your own, and everybody has their own way that they like to do things. That's all there is to it. I find a lot of things for me is a combination, stealing a little bit from all over. I take a look at this configure here on this low float winners, window specific filters, hide unused. So we got $1 to $100. Change from close got to be up at least 2%. Got an EPS hack to get rid of the ETFs in there. 200 under 200 mil in the. Is it 200 mil? I can't tell when it's so many numbers. So. Under 20 mil in the float. And volume today has to be at least 1,000 shares. So now if this was for me, I'd want to put some more volume confirmation in here. So I'd come in here and I'd go with the 5-minute volume. I'd be adding that in there, and I'd throw at least a 300 in there. And what does 300 do for that? That means it's doing 3 times its normal 5-minute volume on a 10-day average of 5-minute volume clips. And it's not looking at 5-minute candles, so don't confuse that. 5-minute time frame. You too, Sam. Thanks for popping in. Hopefully, maybe we'll catch in here a little bit more over the next coming weeks. And we got you. We got you on the radar when we get this docking and the charts. A little more situated here. Also, Sam, if you ever just want to take a shot at upgrading to the 5.5s, don't be afraid to do that because we can always send you a link to the Dropbox to go back a version again too. But if you just want to give it a shot and see if there's anything improved for you, there's some stuff that they've implemented that is they thought might improve but hasn't everybody. So. Throw that out there for you, Sam. Have a great weekend, Sam. Thank you for popping in. Not that I'm aware of Perfect Circle. There shouldn't be. It wouldn't make sense for there to be. But you never know. Man, TPH, breaking my heart. Well, whatever. It is what it is. All right, make sure I'm caught up on questions. All right, if I missed anybody's questions in here, please let me know. Show some built-in scanners. So I'll run some more built-in scanners in a second here. About Barry, big fan, laid back, weekend. There aren't custom forms. All right, I think I've gotten everybody here. And then we got the short squeeze channel here. So squeeze me, Steve's. This was a Steve scan, if I'm not mistaken, from way back when. And again, we'll come to the window specific filters. $300 to $200. A decent sized float that's working in there. Position and range on the year, so you got to be 75% above the low of the year's range. And a short float of at least 10%, and you got to have some volume kicking 300,000 shares at least a day for the last 5 days. So. And of course, there's a lot more that you could do with scans like this. Maybe throw in a 10-day range, a position 10-day range too, so you get a little more confirmation on that move up with those shorts up there. Position, and you got 5-day range, 10-day range that you could throw in there, so you don't just have to look at a year. You start stacking ranges on top of each other to find a little more confirmation trending up. That's something. So someone asked me for a trending scan today. I don't think I have anything specifically. You too, Sam. Thank you. I don't have anything myself really specifically for trending stocks, but what you could always do. We start with I'm going to get rid of this here because that's really tying me up. And I want to stop that idea surfing. You could always come and, a lot of times when I start building a scan, I'll start with a top list to see what it's returning me for charts because it'll load up a bunch of charts at once. So we can see the charts that are coming up. And then I can consider, is it alert window worthy? Because, alerts are going to come one time stamped alert at a time. So when someone was asking today about, what was I thinking about? Trending, trending. Well, trending first off, time frame that you want, trending up, down, so on and so forth. So these are the questions to ask to the question. And Andy shared with me a stacked above all moving averages. So that's something I thought about. So if I'm looking for something trending, all right, well let's find something trending. So what is trending? Let's go intraday trending. So SMA. We got a bunch of SMA filters in here. All right. And I see we're coming to 4:30, so I will be departing in a couple of minutes here, but just mess with this for a second here. I want to find things that are trending. All right. So let's find a 5 period on a 2-minute chart, and let's add that filter. And let's say we want to be 0.25% above that. Let's go with a 5-minute on a 5-minute chart. Let's add that filter. Let's go with a 0.25% above that. And an 8 period on a 15-minute chart. Let's go with that. Go with 8. Let's go with 150. And let's make sure we're up from the close. Kind of keep with a theme of trending here. Yeah, I'm just going to press OK. Let's see what it returns for some ideas here. Sorry, I loaded on another screen. Pull that right over. There we go. And let's we sorted from the server on change from close, not sort on the colors change from close. All right, and so take a look here. That's awful. All right, so that was trending for most of the day on a 5-minute chart. Trending towards the end of the day here. You can see it here, trending on the shorter time frame. We used shorter time frames. Ford, talk about trending. This thing just boom. I know it's Ford and people think it's boring, but we had a discussion. That just looks real right to me right now. We had a discussion about this in the traders, our trader chat here. And we're discussing it. Sean said that Tesla is, like the Apple of cars and Ford is the Microsoft of cars, meaning that their quality and functionality may not be as sleek and as great as a Tesla's, but they'll sell a gajillion, zillion, million of them, versus, PC versus Mac sales, essentially. Anyways, chart confirms. A lot of people that are a believer in what Ford's doing with EVs right now. Very nice there, Perfect Circle. And sometimes it just takes one. I mean, look, a couple of bucks from yesterday. You can't knock that, man. That's a strong, strong chart. I'll tell you that. So, and getting the message is to wrap it up for the day here. Sorry, there's some things I have to log out of. There we go. So, all right. Anybody's interested in this, I'm going to make one adjustment on this, and I'm going to share it. We're going to call it short-term trending. what do I want to add to it? What do we want to add to this, Chris? Let's get some volume in this thing. Where's my volume? There we go. Volume today. Let's check out stocks that have traded at least 125,000 shares today. All right. And I'm going to add one more thing to it here. Position 5-day range. Add that filter. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with everybody in case they want it. And I'm going to call it a day. Where are you? There we go. So, all right, I'm going to load that into there for everybody. If anybody wants that and to work around with it and mess with it, I have no idea what it's going to return, but have at it. And I'll walk you out on this for anybody that just joined. I apologize. I'm getting ready to shut down for the day. I do this Monday through Friday at 3:30 Eastern. We talk scans, we talk charts, we talk trade ideas software, just kick around some ideas. You know, I want people that are subscribed to Trade Ideas to get the most from the software like I did. You know, I think that comes through, you know, some live instruction here. So, you know, I can't live one-on-one or remote everybody that asks for it, but, you know, I can put myself here in this chat and I think it works pretty well. Yes, ABD, you too have a great weekend. My pleasure to do this. Every day, Monday through Friday, Barry, who runs the Traders Room, opens the stream at 9 o'clock in the morning. He runs till 3. He shuts it down at 3. I open it back up again at 3:30. If you're kicking the tires, you're struggling with anything, come here. All right. You can't help but learn a few things by hanging out in this live open forum. And again, I always, you know, once in a while I get emails saying, oh, you know, I'm not finding them helpful. I can't help you if you don't ask questions. It's the only way I can help is if you ask the questions. All right. Trading is hard. It doesn't happen overnight. It's very worth it though. That you know, anybody that has made it as a trader will tell you it was worth every bit of it to get through it. So, all right, perfect. The interactions and the questions that you had in here are great by me anyways. And I appreciate you being in here every day. Perfect Circle. I really do appreciate you being in here every day. I appreciate everybody that comes in here every day. Helps make the time go by a lot quicker. And it's a lot nicer than when I'm trying to fumble around and figure out what to talk about on a daily basis. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all back here at 3:30 Eastern on Monday. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care and bye-bye.